Hello everyone, welcome to Caroline's Craftery. Today we are doing the 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025, hosted by Dawn at Scrapbook Sage. There is some of us, there's I guess 11 of us that are doing this challenge through the year of 2025. My focus month is May, so I'm going to come up with something special for that month. But today and throughout 2025, my motto is to use stuff up. And using stuff up also includes finishing stuff up. Now, we are going to be finishing up all these cards out of cards. Now, quite a while ago, I did a video on this, and for whatever reason, it never got posted. So that video is actually going to be on the end of this video because I want to get these finished up. I want to get them done. I want to get them into my finished ephemera pile. So a lot of these you're going to see, a bunch of these you're going to see in the second part of this video, which will be at the end of this part. So let's just put these away because these just need to be inked. The knots have been glued and trimmed, etc. Now I've got some here that I need to glue and trim off the things. Now these are a little bit different, but these are using greeting cards, scrapbook cardstock, and anything else I could find. But the principle is kind of the same. They're stitched on the back, and these have to all be glued. I'm just actually finishing these up. On Thursday nights, we have a craft night over the winter. So I've been taking these all winter, finishing them up. Now in my video that I'll be posting at the end of this one, I said that I would have these done in a few days. Well, that was the gluing together part. I've still got all the stitching part. So I take these on a Thursday night with me and I stitch while the ladies and I chat and laugh and all that stuff. So I keep it all in this little container. So then when I go, I just take that container with me. I've got my crafting project. So I have done a bit on the gluing of these and the sewing of these. And I do like doing them. And I'm going to spread my threads apart like that. Just take a little bit of art glitter glue and just put it on there. And that's going to hold my knot. I like doing that. And I will do all these. And then all of these need to be inked. And that's something else that I'm going to be doing. And then they'll be ready for my ephemera box. From there, I can decorate them more, use them just as they are, use them as a pocket, whatever I decide to do with them. And I've got quite a few, and I've got, actually I think the ones in this little container are all the ones that I have left. And then they'll all be done, and I'll be good to go with these for quite a while. So check out all these channels, take a screenshot. There'll be a list below of all the people taking part in this. So you can find them that way. And it's a great challenge. And if you want to follow along or you kind of want to take part, go ahead and use that hashtag. Hopefully you can see it. 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025. Hopefully that focuses. But all the information for this will be below. Okay, and now on to my old video that I made. You'll see that the lighting isn't as good and it's just not as good of quality, but it shows you how to make these, how you can use up your old cards, scrapbook paper, cardstock. You want something more than paper. You want something fairly sturdy. But some of these were backed onto another piece. I think I did that more with the tags like this. These are glued onto an initial piece of paper because this is kind of, I just use strips, all the same length, and I just glued them down. Trying to use up stuff. This one too. More of the strips like this were done on a backing, whereas these, that one there was just the cardstock. No, actually that was a solid piece, but then I stitched across it anyways. But these are more what I did in the video at the end of this. But lots of different ways you can do this. Lots of different ways to use up scraps. I think I might have even done a video on these ones at some point. But I'm finishing these up. And the 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025 for me is about using stuff up, finishing stuff off, getting it out the door, so to speak. So stay tuned for the second part, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Or I guess not bye for now. Bye for now after the second part. Hello everyone, welcome to Caroline's Craft Treat. Today we are making cards out of cards. Simple project. I think it's a simple project. So I had a whole bunch of greeting cards and I cut all these up long time ago. Like probably 2 years ago I cut these up. These are, and you can do these any size. These are 3 inches and they vary in width. This one is like 1 3/8. This one is a little over 1 1/8. So they really vary in size. I've already cut my holes in these, not cut my holes, but poked my holes in these. As I say, I did these up a couple years ago and I just never got them finished. So I'm finishing them up. I've already got 12 made. And what I'm doing is I'm stitching them together. The backs are not always the same color, and that's okay. And some of them are even not quite straight. Like this one here is a little bit thinner here than it is there. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to show you what I did to get these. Now, I like to ink mine, and some of these have holes on one side. Some have holes on 2 sides. It depends. So basically, the top and the bottom only have holes on the one side, whereas the ones in the middle have it on both sides. I try to pick out ones that go together. And I'm going to do like a purple one this time. This isn't purple and it's blingy. It's kind of a Christmas card, but I think it'll be okay for any time. So I've got one with the holes on one side. I've got the second one. So that's going to go on the top. And these ones are going to go in the middle. I like to ink the middle part, so I ink that side and I ink this side. All of these cards, I've made sure that there wasn't any writing on the back. Some of these were new cards, some were old cards, old as in used. Some were old as in vintage cards. They were all greeting cards though. So we're just going to ink this up. Trying to word it right. I was going to say I don't care, but I do care. I don't worry about how long a project takes me to do. If it takes me a minute, it takes me a minute. If it takes me an hour, I'm okay with that. So let's just divide these up a little bit like so. I'm going to take some glue. I'm using art glitter glue. And I do this part one at a time. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to glue this together. I'm going to do my best to line up the sides. And I'm going to do my best to line up the holes. When I first started doing this, I did not glue them. But it is a little bit easier when they're glued. I could glue them all together, but you're looking at that much space that they're actually glued together. So, you know, there's not a lot holding it. And then I'm going to stitch these together. Now, I forgot to say how I did this. I use this Stampin' Up! Piercing mat, which I absolutely love. And I've just kind of lined it up the same with each tag. And I use this to poke it. When I first started doing these, I did not own this. So I had a little template. I made one of these, and then pretty much I just would line it, lay it on top, and I would use that as my template, and I would poke. So you don't need to have that template. So I am going to come up, and I do mine with a cross stitch just because I like how it looks. And I'm going to go down. So I'm going to do, this is going to be at an angle, right? Then come back up. And I'm just going to do this all the way to the end. Like I say, if a project takes me a minute, or it takes me an hour, or takes me days, it doesn't bother me. I'm here because I love doing the crafts. I'm here because I want to be here. And I find that hand stitching actually relaxes me, which I like. Let's just move that out of the way so I don't bang it. Now, as I say, you can use any kind of cards. I usually don't do much for holidays, so I try not to do too much like things that are really Christmassy, even though this one is from a Christmas card. When it's next to the purples like that and just a little strip, you can't really tell that it's winter trees. So it's all okay. Let's just take this to the end. I'm not going to stitch them all on camera because you're going to get bored watching me put my needle back and forth through this here. Now, as you can see, the front is angled, but the back is straight. So on the back of the card, you can see that it's straight there, but it's crossed is on the front. Now you can decorate these any way you want. To me, they're almost decorative enough just the way they are. Maybe I'd put a little flower on them or something simple. I still have to, on these, I have to glue down my threads. I always put a little dab of glue on my knot, just to give it that extra hold power. Untangle my thread. Because of the way I hold my needle and I pass it through, my thread tends to get a little bit twisty. And so every now and again, I'll hold it up. You can't really see, but I'll just let my thread hang and untangle itself, or untwist itself, I guess. But this is the way I make these. It is a simple project. You could very easily sew this on a machine too. Put a little bit of glue like that, run a zigzag or something. In that case, you wouldn't have to put your holes in. But because of the fact that I do the hand stitching, and this is, I did these 12. It was 2 evenings watching YouTube and doing cards. So now you can see on the back, I've gone all the way to the end. Now I'm going to start making my cross. So I'm going to cross, and the back side's going to be exactly where the other stitches were. But the front is going to be the opposite slant, therefore it's going to make the cross. So I'm just going to do this one, and it'll give you a good idea of how to make these. I like using the gift cards because that cardstock that they use is so much stiffer than other cards and tags, or cardstock, I mean. Like scrapbooking cardstock, it just doesn't seem as strong. And at one point, I had thousands of gift cards, like thousands. I went through them all. I've used them for die cutting little tags, and again, because of their strength, they make great little tags. I used up pretty much all that I could out of the cards. I've still got probably maybe 100 to 150 cards left out of the big stacks that I had. That's also how I got so many envelopes as well, which I've been using up for everything. Usually I try to match the colors up if I can, have all pinks or all blues, all greens, etc. But I don't do that all the time. Sometimes I mix them up. It all depends on what you want. But it's a great way to use up greeting cards, bits and pieces. And on a lot of these, my width of the card varied depending on what was on the reverse side of the card. That way, you know, I didn't get the sayings that were in a card or the writing that somebody had put into the card. Okay, so I'm at the end. So you can see the X's. And you can see the lines on that side. Now I'm just going to flip it over. And I am going to do 3 knots. I always do 3 knots. Oops. 1 is to start it off. 2 is to hold it. And 3 is for safety. And then I'm just going to snip that off, leaving a little bit of the ends. So there is step 1. Now I'll repeat that. I'll put this, I'll glue that down. And I just do this. Run a little bit of glue. As I say, when I started this, I didn't glue it. But then I found that the gluing held it together nicely while I was stitching it together. That's going to go on there. I want to make sure I see that row of holes. And just take a peek at the back. Glue that down, press it down. Now I'm ready to stitch that other one. It goes by quite quickly. I'm going to do all of these up. I've decided I'm going to finish them up and they'll be done. And this is all, I probably won't need to do any for a while. Now these are all the ones that I've done. You can see the different colors. Trying to stay in the same color zone. And I like how they turned out. And they can, most of them can go either way. It doesn't really matter. But there is all of these. This one here is a little bit Christmassy, but it's not too bad. And a little bit of a Christmas tree here. You can kind of tell that's from a Christmas card, but those words would be okay other times. This one here is a little bit Christmassy with those, but not enough to worry about. Now, once I get them to this stage, I just take my glue and I spread my threads and I just put a little bit of glue right on the knot, and that's just to hold the knot closed. Just like that. Don't need much. Just a little bit of extra safety. And as you can see, there's pink and there's white on the back. They're all writable on the back. Like, I don't know what colors. This one here is obviously an Easter card, but you can totally write on that. This one might be a little harder to write on, but I could use that also on the front of the card and have that on the back. A little bit of colors on a few of them, but nothing too serious. As I say, I will use up all of these. I will keep going. At one time, I'm thinking I probably already had these into sets, but then they all got mixed together. So I will just keep making little groups of them. And I might even do a little bit of grouping before I continue too far. So I'll try to find another one with some pink in it, like that one there would work. The overall length of a lot of these, I mean, it varies depending on the widths of the cards. But this is almost 6 1/4. So that's a fine length for tags. This one here is 6 7/8 or 5 7/8. So they really vary in length, overall lengths. So I might, just take this and put these 5 together and put a paper clip on them. Just so then when I start getting down to the end, I know where I'm at on this. I probably got another 10 to 12 tags to do. Once my thread is dry, I just go ahead and I trim these off. Just like that. How do you use up your old greeting cards? I still have lots of greeting cards. Like I say, I've probably got 100 greeting cards to use for stuff like this. And then I probably have 300 greeting cards that are new that I use. If I sell a journal, I'll send a little thank you card with it. Sometimes I'll use them as pages in my journals. So there we have the back. Now you can see where my knots are, but not too bad. Now when I go to use this in a journal, I might just ink the edge and slip it in. I could stitch around the outside. I could add something, like this tag is really crooked down here. It's not even close to being straight. It's 6 3/8 on that side, and it's almost 6 1/2 on that side. So I'll run it through my paper trimmer and trim that up. A lot of these were done by hand, and some of them, like this one, because I was only putting the holes in the one side, I wouldn't have even trimmed that up yet. So, but I love how they turn out. If you have any questions about doing these, let me know. If you make some, I would love to see. Just glue them together, stitch them with your machine. Therefore, like I say, you wouldn't put the holes in there. Lots of ways to do this. I couldn't see putting them on something. Like, yes, I could glue those like onto a backing paper, but I figured, why waste the backing paper when you're already dealing with such good cardstock to begin with? And I do like that on the back as well. I like to see the stitching on the back. I like the different colors on the backs. It kind of finishes off the back. Now there is one that I did that actually has crosses on the back. So this one right here. This one actually has crosses on the front, crosses on the back. To do this, I went crossed, and also on the back I crossed. So instead of, I'd go from there to there to there to there, and almost made like a zigzag going one way. I'd miss every second one. Coming back, I hit the one that I missed, so therefore I had a zigzag. Then I did a zigzag the same way on top of that. Hence why I've got ends on both ends. If you want to see that, let me know. And I could do a little video on that as well. And see a little bit of a card decoration there. That one's kind of upside down, that little piece, but that's okay. It all works out in the end. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on how I make these. I will show them all finished in a What's Up video coming up. I'll probably be done all these in the next day or two, I would think. But I still got quite a few pieces to use up, but it does go by quick. Check out the links below, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Check out the Facebook groups and my shops. Lots of freebies on coffee for you. So head over there and follow me there as well. And we will see you again soon. Bye for now.